Hello, 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 hello! Let me turn my mic down just a little bit. That is rather loud. Let me make sure I'm live real quick, because I'm changing my setup gradually. Okay, I am live here. That's good. Let me, I promise I do have brain function. I know how to function somewhat. So I'm just streaming some Marvel Rivals. We're gonna have as fun of a time as we can. Oh boy, okay. So I'm probably just gonna do some quick match. Oh, do I want to? I haven't played an actual game of Marvel Rivals in a minute, so I think I'm gonna go with that. Now, how do I... Let me see if I can set a keybind for this. It would be great if I could, and I should have figured this sooner. I will be checking as frequently as I can in terms of my chat, but try to be patient with me. I am figuring streaming on 2 platforms at the moment, and until I, you also need to be turned down, you are way too loud. Until I figure, either getting my second monitor or what have you, I'm going to be a little, it's going to be a little screwy, but we're figuring it. We got this. We're good. We got this. Anyway. So, welcome to anyone who is currently watching. Let me just jump right in. Sorry I didn't stream yesterday. I needed a bit of a break. I had some unforeseen difficulties, but we are back. It feels like my volume is so much louder than it actually is, and I can't tell if that's just because I haven't played in a minute or not.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Let's see. Okay. What do I want to do? I'll go... Weirdly enough, I'll go Invis.
The type who fades quietly into the background.
I'll go Invis on this. Because she's pretty decent. I am sorry that I'm going to be so locked in. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best not to get so locked in that I lose sight of everything, but that's just the nature of the game. So hopefully the gameplay is entertaining enough for you to stay. Oh my god.
Cosmic rays didn't make me who I am today. My family didn't.
Oh, well, that's not a good sign. Quit. Sorry. Had to close some stuff out. Because my ping being worse is not gonna help anything. Jesus Christ. Just pull back for like 2 seconds real quick. It's important to have this shit figured out before me. You know, that's on me. Okay, get him off. Go back to heal. Can't out-heal this. Cap's not dying, because no one is dealing with him. Fuck! Okay. Yeah, that's probably not the move then. Let's try Cloak and Dagger. Because I'm not able to out-heal, and part of the issue that I'm experiencing is that there's two... whatever it is going on. Are they pushing? Yeah, they're gonna push so that way they can try to keep the convoy going. Get him out, get him out, get him out, get him out, get him out. Damn. Okay, we're gonna pull back then. I understand that the point was kind of lost on that. I don't really think there was much that we could really do about that, because they would have just kept going. So, unfortunate truth, but... Fucking hell! That's a great start to this game.
Don't lie to me. I invented every...
I know that there's only so much that I can do, and I'm sure everyone's trying their best, but that does not make this less aggravating. Especially when Venom's running up, like, yeah, I don't know what, we're staggered really bad, and our Hela just, well, I can't say she doesn't have aim, because sometimes stuff's just difficult like that. People are DCing, because it's an online competitive game, which means everyone is, you know, there's like only a few types of players on here, which is very unfortunate. Unfortunately, this is just a really good dive comp, like, and you don't win those. I don't know why you thought you won those with me. Anyway. How did you, what? What? Huh? Wait a minute, what? But I'm not imagining that. Okay, whatever. This is... I don't even know what to say about this, if I'm being completely honest. Like, there is nothing to say. I don't have options, I don't have a fucking team. Like, I couldn't get my ult this entire game, because I've died 5 times, because they've just been in the back line. This is phenomenal. It's not like I'm not trying here, but what am I supposed to do? Jesus Christ. Can someone kill the thing, please? There have been several fucking times now that he has been so close to dead, and I can't do it. Because I need to focus on 5 different things. This isn't even about keeping my team alive at this point. Like, what was that? Oh my god. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Ugh. Alright, well. It is what it is. I feel like I have put so much of an importance on not blaming other people that it makes it very frustrating, because sometimes you're not the only person that can be blamed. Sometimes it's not your fault. I genuinely have no clue on what to say about that one. That was just abysmal. Absolutely horrid. Like, there was no damage, there was no tanks, there was nothing. Like, if anyone wants to claim no heals, yeah, guess what? No fucking tanks, no fucking damage. Where do you think your heals are gonna go? Where do you think your heals are gonna go? It didn't matter if anyone was playing the role, they clearly didn't know what they were doing with them. Like, people will say, oh, it's just a game. Yeah, that's true, it is just a game. But this isn't a story game, this isn't, like, a difficult boss fight. It's people against people. And one of the most frustrating aspects of this game, understandably, is the fact that you don't have... There's a certain level of control that you just do not have. Because you can't control your teammates, and you can't control the enemy team, and you can't control a lot of other things, like the map placement, like where you get put on maps, and you can't control... You see, it's irritating. It is absolutely irritating, because... And that's why a lot of blame is placed, too, is because it's like, oh, well... It's not my fault. Well, you know what? No, sometimes it's not your fault, and sometimes it is your fault, and sometimes it's not anyone's fault. And it fucking sucks that it is not that simple. Absolutely sucks. But there's nothing to be done about it. It is just a sad fact that things are just like that. And I need to kind of just be a little more laissez-faire, I think, when it comes to this. What did I do? Got Ultron. Can I go 2 for 2? Probably not, honestly. I wish I could, though. I fucking wish I could. What the fuck? What is... Oh. Wait, what? Oh, that was Black Panther. Wouldn't... I honestly, that almost scared me. Granted, Black Panther is one of the few things I am scared of in this game. Because I, for the life of me, struggle so much to counter him, and I wish I could explain why, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's so simple. The answer is to hit him, but it doesn't feel like hitting him does anything. Ah! Thank you. What? Huh? What? I was being... Okay. I really fucking hate Black Panther so much. Which is sad, because I do, like, genuinely, like, love him as a character. As a character, he's very intriguing. As a fucking, like, character in this game, I absolutely despise him, and I wish nothing but hatred. And that's okay. It's okay to be a little angry. Hey, no! Well, that was beautifully timed, I must say. Okay, gaggle him. We just want to gaggle punch him. Bully it. Okay. Good. No, not worth it. Don't take Invis's ult, typically because of the fact that it's really easily countered, and her ult's not very long, so the value that I get off of it in some cases isn't really worth it, especially since I have to focus her and target her. Someone, like, maybe deal with Ultron just a little bit, like, it would be great if someone could deal with Ultron, like, genuinely. Okay, now you can go with awesome. Now's my time to shine. Oh. That is unfortunate. Is it just me, or like... I know I didn't imagine that. Like, I didn't hear her ult going off. Did we run off this side of mine? That'd be wild crazy though, if that were the case. I see you. I do see you. You are right in front of me. Fuck! Damn it! The one time my rune wasn't up. Rune protects from a lot of things. There are some things it doesn't, but like, it is a savior against Iron Man's maximum ults. And I'm sure there are other like ults that are as well. Why did you just run out there? Nope, 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 you're not allowed. Oh, yeah, no. Okay, good. I'm good. Safe. Yeah, I know you need heals. I can't hit you if you're walking around my fucking shots. I'm aiming at you. Someone needs to deal with your blood. Comboing their ults off really, really well right now, which is somewhat annoying, but there's not really anything that can be done about it. We just kind of have to hope and pray. Come on, come on, come on. God! I know people have probably said that about me sometimes, so I can be really evasive at certain points, and really annoying. No. No. No, not allowed. Love that combo ult. It's really good. Jesus fucking Christ. We really need to push this though. Like, we can't lose the pressure that we currently have. Yep. Good. Not good. There we go. One of their healers down. Good. I respect the effort. I respect it. I get it. I've been there. Someone... Okay. Okay, maybe I should isolate myself from the rest of the team. You know, that was kind of a bad idea. So let's let me not do that. Oh, what the? That's on me. Though it does feel like I couldn't react fast enough to that. That was weird. Then again, I think Emma's probably like one of the easiest characters to play in the game. Like, her cycle is really simple. They tried to debuff her damage output, but they also upped her durability, so like, it's not really... Pull back to me, pull back to me, pull back to me. Fuck. Oh, you know what? Fair enough. Yup. Here we go. No. I can't heal you if you're jumping around and out of my fucking heals, dude. I literally can't do anything about that. I hate so much. Fucking hate so much. So much hatred in my veins. I'm mad at myself over that. We need to get our pressure back. How we're exactly planning on doing so, I'm not exactly sure, but they're pushing us back really far in ways that they should not be able to. So, like, maybe we need to reapproach how we're dealing with this. Get the Iron Man out of here, man. God, I'm annoying. Is it Iron Man? Probably, honestly. Okay, come on. We gotta push this. We don't really have the option to dilly dally over here. God, you fucking serious here? God, you fucking kidding me? Jeff, did you just... Thank you! Yep, okay. That was well thought. That was well thought.
Greetings. What did I miss?
Who is holding? Sorry, I didn't realize someone was holding. Ugh. Okay, well, it happens. I feel like if... I don't know. That was just unfortunate. Ah! Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Just checking something. So moving on. Let's try... Ugh. Alright, what are we running here? I'll go Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger. We are hope and fear. Without Ty, I wouldn't know the real power of the Light Force. 30 seconds before you attack. Get ready. You guys are the cool.
Walk into a wall, Jesus.
You're pretty cool yourself. Being able to understand animals. I wish I could do that. Yeah, all you have to do is listen. I really hate Doom.
Does anybody like Doom?
I probably shouldn't be standing there, now that I think about it.
3, 2, 1. Tippy-toe spotted bad guys. Here they are.
Don't like that I have to run out here because you guys are trying to play. feel that. Noxious, 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 noxious. Yeah, no, don't try that. Don't try that. Oh no. Oh, why did I do that? I respect the effort, at least, I suppose. I wasn't even securing a point. That was kind of not great. But I wasn't sure whether or not they were coming. Usually they would have been. Cap. No. Cap. No. Leave Jeff alone. Leave Jeff alone. Leave him alone. Yeah, that's what I thought. That squeaking sound is so annoying. But I know it's coming from my ceiling fan and I can function. Oh my god, Wolby, buddy. You are soloing. Oh my god, you were soloing an entire team forever. That's crazy. This Iron Fist is kind of goated, not gonna lie.
Against the world.
Okay. Hey, you're free to do that. Whether or not you actually succeed in what you're trying to do is a different question. Like, I'm really not bothered. Crap. That is very unfortunate. Wait, do they have? Yeah, okay, they do also have a Star-Lord. Wait, they're the only ones with the Star-Lord. Why did I think there was a Star-Lord on our team? Oh my god, I'm brain dead. Jesus. Alright. Where was everyone else? Why was everyone else just standing there? Huh? That's fantastic. I love that. I love that someone's disconnecting in the middle of the game. That's great. Okay, I was just in an error. You gotta be kidding me. Okay.
To shed some light.
trying to heal him out of it, and I couldn't. Frustrating, but it's fine, they're flanking. Yep, takes good. Couldn't heal fast enough, but that's okay. Just keep pushing. It's fine. I think I did it then. Hit, Darcy. Alright, she just can move close to her. She steps forward a little too much, but that's expected. I think the worst part is I can make the observation, so when it comes to actual play, I feel like I am just not functional at all. Okay, well, at least I didn't waste my ult on that. Ow. I keep feeling like I'm not seeing. There is no other Star-Lord. I don't know where this is coming from. Okay, that's fine. Okay, great. Ult was stalling, which is phenomenal. I respect it. I respect the stall. Because that's what they're doing. They're just keeping them like as they can. But that's gonna be really dangerous once they get their ult again. Because they're just gonna be able to get that in. Yep, just like that. That's what I was expecting. So the double ult from both of them does mean that, like, damage-wise, there's not a lot that they can do. Fortunately, okay, we lost tank. A tank? No, just our tank. Okay. Yeah, I don't recommend being on this. That's... weird. It felt like he was shooting me in the middle of his startup animation. He could have been, but... Okay, that's fine. They're using theirs, and I'm about to have mine after the fact. Invisible only might have their things though, so I have to like actually get. Oh shit. You're not. Okay. Fuck! I hate so much. I don't know why Wolverines. Well, I kind of get it, but... yeah. Yeah. I respect the attempt. I have to respect the attempt, even if it wasn't great. How did you hit your ult again? Wait, what? When did you... What? You just ulted. What? Huh? What? No? No? Huh? I'm We barely lost that. That sucks. That was solo stratting? What? Huh. Okay. I honestly don't care enough to snap about it. That is too tiresome. Check. I am checking my chat. Oh, hi. Hi. Thank you for joining me. Alright. I'm gonna swap over. I don't think that Resource Rumble is still active, and if it's not, it's fine, but I like the new map. Yes, I need to find a way to find this. Yeah, but I don't know if the game mode is staying or not. I hope it is. I think out of all the game modes we have, Resource Rumble would be like an amazing addition. Alright. I'm not going to be looking at chat for a minute. What do I want to do? Cloak and Dagger is always like a good, trusty choice. Strange! Sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear my, like, keys as I'm just mashing that, but it's funny.
Swords and wooden stakes. Real cute. They're just as powerful as any weapon in your arsenal. In the right hands.
Yeah, I need a break from quick match. 3 losses in a row is not fun at all. I'm gonna follow the tank. Maybe this is just my role bias, but I'm gonna follow the tank like 99% of the time, especially if it's a strange. I'm gonna be so for real. I trust strange mains more than I think I trust any other, like, Vanguard. Out of any, like, Vanguard, strange mains are the ones that I trust the most. Like, unquestionably. Oh, it's a Loki! Cool. I want to bully it. Got him! Sorry, that's mean. That's mean, but also it's so annoying. I want to get rid of, like, the clones because they cannot be trusted. always want to be watching. Loki could come up behind Frank, so. And if he does, that's going to be ugly. Yeah, we're not following you all the way up there, Cap. There's no reason to do that. I feel bad, but it's just a fact. There's no reason. Oh, God, nice. Ooh! I don't think I deserved that. I'm pretty sure I stole that from someone. I'm sorry. Oh, God. I got turned around. That's great. Ooh, Strange is up there. Somebody just go flying past me. Yeah, my better judgment. I'll do it. Because, like, I really don't want... If the entire team's up here and they die, that's a much weaker issue. Ultron can't really go well. Loki's probably set up at the next point. If I had to guess, he would probably be set up. Or he might be about to conceal this one. Oh! Jeez. This is kind of brutal. Oh! Mantis. Got it. Nice try. Fuck. Well, that's fine. That's fine. They only got, like, a few resources out of it, so I'm really not that fussed.
Dagger's back.
I have my ult going into this next point, so I can counter as needed. That's good. Galacta, good for them. I really cannot be bothered. Get the Loki, get the Loki, get the Loki. Loki can be a problem. Loki can be a problem if he's uncontested. Don't let him live. That sounds really violent, actually. That's what's difficult. Fuck! That's what I was worried about! No, no one listens to, well, no one listens. But you really didn't need that. Oh, they're in the fucking...
We are undefeatable.
I can't, like... I can try to push up a little bit, but I don't really have the, like, support to do so, so I kind of just have to... Yeah, Penny got her nest down, didn't she? That was all she needed. Fuck. Okay. No, she didn't get her nest down. Oh, wait, did she? I think she might have. I can't quite see what was going on there. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that means that we're gonna have to fight for the last point, which is... bleh. But... Oh, they're trying to crowd spawn now. They're trying to push us so that way we can't do anything. Because now Johnny has, like, so much fucking, like, free real estate. Because we need to push, and he's really good at just keeping back. Yeah. I respect the fuck out of Strange for that, but I'm so sorry. I was probably portaling, I didn't notice. That's on me. Someone get Penny, thank you. Are you fucking serious? Nah, fuck that. I'm not dealing with that. Fuck that shit. Can someone please please get Loki. Like, can someone please get him? Because we kind of need someone to deal with him. And Lord knows. Oh, thank you, Frank. Much appreciated. You're great. This is why you should try to avoid popping your ult just because you are in danger. You dying and having to come back is much less valuable if you do not have your ult. So don't waste it. Not that I really need to say that, because I'm sure all of you knew that already, but still. Granted, we're going into this next point without a lot of pressure, at least from me. It's a little not great, but... Nope, we just kind of tore through her. Okay. Yep, she doesn't have free real estate now. Corner. Good. Awesome. Got it. The ticking noise is making me anxious. Ugh, I hate it. Did we stagger their strats, or are their strats just stuck at spawn? Because I don't quite know what's happening right now. Sorry, Cap. No, their strats just, I guess, wanted to wait until the rest of their team was dead. No, they were probably staggered. That's not fair. They were probably staggered. What is Strange doing over there? Strange, buddy, are you okay? Strange? Strange, you can't win those. You don't have heals over there, buddy. Strange! Okay. Awesome. That was pretty good. Oh, ow. Oh, nice. I didn't even realize I needed that. Oh, hell yeah. I respect it. It's not my favorite, but I respect it. Do I ever play him? No. But one day I will, for whatever reason. It's going to be so worth it to have that specific emote. I firmly believe that. I'm just wiggling. I just be wiggling. What's crazier is the fact that I don't have dropped frames. But now that I say that, I'm probably going to drop all my frames. Just non-existent frames. My frames couldn't exist. Don't know her. Couldn't be me. That's fine. I don't care if my pre-roll ads are disabled. stick with Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger.
If Loki's already
Fear
grabbed.
and fear.
I keep seeing movement out of the corner of my eye, and I think I might be crazy.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Is it just me, or did they take a... Oh, wait, no, it's over here.
Underestimating my light. That's okay.
No, that's fine.
Happens all the time.
Oh, yeah, you can't
Doom.
completely take her voice out. That sucks.
Time to paint things black.
Yeah.
Battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready to get
It took me a minute to realize he was doing that.
goodies? Let's go.
Baby wizards everywhere these days. If I had the patience.
And I would be his student. Sorry, that was uncalled for. You know what? Nah, I think it's valid. I think it's valid. I personally think that that is valid. I can't heal if I'm getting gold in the back line. That's just kind of a fact. Is this really, like, you know what, it's fine. We won one, and this is what the game has decided for me. It's just the way it is. Get thing, yes, okay, they're down a tank, Okay, that's fine. We can still push, we can still try to push it. There's no point for me to be in that mode. That's bad. That was so dangerous. I honestly don't know how the fuck this goes. I genuinely have no clue how that happened. But you know what? I'm not complaining. I'll take what I can. Oh. Well, that's just unfortunate. Is Loki there? I think Loki's there. I think I saw his clones. Stop trying to go after Invisible Woman. If I get it. She's... Whoa. What? Oh, she's just camping spawn. But in doing so is, like, probably losing... No, she's not. Fucking bitch. I know that this was necessary. I don't like that this was necessary. I don't like that the only way that I could get out of spawn against a fucking bitch who wants to spawn camp is... Yeah, get her. Fucking get her. That's ridiculous. The fact that she was repeatedly able to do that is fucking ridiculous. I hate so much. Why is everyone on this fucking team a dive player? I don't want to hear that, oh, it's not dive. No, that is dive. Ridiculous. Honestly. Like, they're down a healer, and we're unable to do anything when... Oh my god. This is horrid. I fucking hate this so much. I'm going with Loki, because Loki's safe to go in with. 9 times out of 10. Nope. Not dealing with you. Okay, they're just gonna try to come at us from all sides. That's pretty much it. There's not much we can do about it except hope that we can clear them out faster than they can clear us. Unfortunately. It's low-key, shut up. For once, please shut up. I love you, shut up. You're my favorite, but you need to just be quiet sometimes. What I love here. Okay, Namor's gone. Honey? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm streaming right now, so I suddenly heard noise, I got scared. What? Huh? Wait, what? Okay, that's, you know what, that's fine. No, never mind, it's not fine. I hate this so much. We can try to hold this point, but I don't quite think that we can, especially if we're just getting harassed out of song. Yeah, I agree. We need to just kind of shift over, because there's no real point.
Our mission has led us to this spot. Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Spider-Man's out of ult, that's fine. Okay, Wolverine's gonna get thrown into us. That's perfectly fine. With that, or I guess it's not. I got you, Strange. I got you, Strange. I got you. I got you. I got you. It's okay. I will protect you. Thing, you should have gone in on that. I don't know why you didn't go in on that when you had the chance. That's a you issue. She's ulting out of our... Did she fail? Did she try to ult our backline and, like, not do that? What? I am so confused by what has just happened. But, like, okay. So paranoid. I respect it. I do, I respect the fact that they're trying as hard as they are. At the same time, like, this is, like, what? What? No, I know clobbering time. Like, I know the ult. What? Am I crazy? You know what? It's fine, I guess. Yeah, no shit. They're extracting resources. Oh my god. I can't believe it. I have no patience. I probably should have a little more. Luna, don't go out there. Okay, okay. I genuinely, like, am struggling to understand what is happening with Wolverine right now. What? This is annoying. Like, I don't know if it's coincidence of, like, who is just where at what time, or if they're, like, 4 or 5 stack, or what. Well, they don't do 5 stacks. Or if it's, like, a 4 stack or what. But this is, like, so fucking annoying. Can't do anything. Ah! Okay. Yeah, no, they're just gonna do this shit now. That's fucking obnoxious. Okay. Is this, like, fun? Is this not boring to some people? Where you're just crowding out of spawn and, like, people aren't allowed to play the game. I mean, I guess for some people it's fun, but, like, I don't know, that just doesn't feel like an actual game at that point. That just, it's not pleasant. Please, fucking someone. How? How did no one else get there? That is fucking obnoxious. It's always fucking dive. I have no patience for dive. I get it. It's, you know, you have to take out the strategist. Taking out the strategist, you gotta get the strategist. Yes. And people wonder why no one wants to play strategist. People wonder, oh, why doesn't anyone want to play strategist? Because of this. Because of this. Because you are not allowed to play the game. If you are against dive, like actual dive, you're just not allowed to play the game. Because there's no good counter to it. People will say, oh, well, Mantis, because Mantis has sleep. That's a projectile. You have to hope you hit it. Oh, well, Luna has her freeze. That's a projectile. You have to hope you hit it. There is no answer. There is no actual answer to dive, especially dive tanks, because a good dive tank will just keep your entire team occupied, because they'll just cycle their abilities. They will never die. I do not know or comprehend how, like, people blame their strategist for everything. Because you know what? I'll be real. I will be so for real right now. I do think that every role is difficult to play. It is completely asinine to say that that strategist is easy or that duelist is easy. With a certain level of game sense, right? If you have a certain level of game sense, then it doesn't matter. Because if you have a certain level of game sense, then you can pretty much pick up most characters, and once you have a handle on their kit, you can just kind of steamroll with them if you have good enough game sense and all of that. But the problem is, there are quite a few problems, especially with how the MMR works, because the MMR is not nearly as divided as it needs to be for what the game wants to do. And on top of that, it's just, again, it's not fun. It's not fun when you're not allowed to play the game. And I can't get mad at them. I can't get mad at them because dive is a viable strategy, and it's a viable strategy for a reason. There is such a huge, reason that dive is so prominent, even after, they tried to nerf a bunch of people. I don't necessarily think that that's fair. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, because, it is kind of a thing of, yeah, you're right. It is kind of bullshit that if you play dive and you just target strats, then, the enemy team automatically loses, because you can't heal. I feel like the issue is that if they walk it back, these characters are already fairly difficult to learn, and because they're already fairly difficult to learn, if you start walking them back, it becomes really difficult. I don't agree with that. I feel like, again, you have to have a certain knowledge on how to cycle their abilities and know, how the kit functions. Because, I understand what you're saying, that Black Panther and Spider-Man on their own are just really, really strong. I'm gonna go into, the training grounds while I have this conversation. I understand what you're trying to say, but part of the reason why I don't completely agree with that is because, again, it takes so much skill to utilize these characters. Like, for example, Venom. Venom doesn't have damage if you do not, like, consistently headshot with him. He doesn't particularly have damage. Like, that's something some people don't really realize. Venom's not that difficult. Cap, honestly, like, there is a couple ways to counter Cap, and the way to counter Cap is just to keep him out of the game. You don't have to kill him. Trying to focus on killing him is, like, if you're trying to kill a good Cap, you're not really going to have a whole bunch of, like, that, again, when it comes down to it, the counters are, like, pretty simple. It's just kind of a thing of, you have to figure what you're working with. Because, like, a bad Captain America, a bad Cap, isn't going to be able to do anything for his team. A bad Cap is going to completely, like, lose out on most things. Because Cap, like, at least to me, unless you know how to cycle his abilities, is not nearly as strong as people think he is. And that's coming from a strat main. Coming from a strat main, like someone who deals with dive fairly regularly and has to take the brunt of it, I genuinely don't think Captain America is nearly as much of a problem as people think he is. I don't think Spider-Man and Black Panther, like, at their base of, like, what their kit is, I don't necessarily think that those are problems. I think that the issue, and this may not be fixed for a while, is the fact that strategist is the only healing role. And you may say to yourself, okay, but if you start putting healing into other, like, characters, then the game's gonna get broken. Well, here's the problem. Every, like, healer, every character that heals that we have is extremely squishy. Every character that we have that is utility, that, like, if they focus on giving buffs, so, like, the strategist role entirely, or the quote-unquote support role, they are all squishy as fuck. And I'm going to be so for real with you when I say this, that is not a good thing. People will say, oh, well, healers will just heal themselves out of things. Healers will just heal themselves out of things. Give me a Vanguard. Give me a Vanguard with an AoE heal. I am not joking. Give me a Vanguard that if you are in his proximity, you gain a bit of, like, natural healing. Because you eliminate a lot of the need for two strategists with that point. And people will say, oh, well, then people are just going to play two strats and a Vanguard. So what? Create more damage characters. Create anti-heal. Create burn. People will say that you, like, one of the few things that I disagree with flats on, because I love flats. Like, I know that I don't talk about flats a lot. I don't particularly, like, have an audience enough for people to care whether or not I like flats, but I do like flats. So I'm going to be really blunt when I say this, in the fact that I think that while he has a point that you have to be careful what you wish for and what you are willing to put into games, the fact that the formula is so standard right now is making this game absolutely obnoxious to play for some roles more than others. Because, Rocket, you're a Vanguard main.
Incoming.
Sky, Rocket, either way, you don't really care. You're a Vanguard main. And, like, I know that you don't like losing games. So to say that dive doesn't affect you is an inaccurate statement, because you're still losing games, you're still affected by that. But, like, in terms of the actual flow of the game, does it affect you the same way it affects me? Like, genuine question. Would you say that it affects you the same way that it affects me? And I'm not, like, judging you or trying to jump down your throat, but I'm trying to make a bit of a point here. kind of agree, but there are really caps out there farming every game, just running around, turtling, and just distracting strats, and not actually doing anything in the games, which is crazy bad on other tanks after Brian Hartman play a tactical game with the game with caps and venoms. Just engage and disengage, the whole game, without actually having to deal with strategic pressure in the game. That doesn't bode well when you can either choose to play Vanguard the traditional way or just do this non-committal jump in, jump out, yawn gameplay. Also, slow kill Vanguard would be absolutely awesome for Jake Meta and actually encouraging skill plus strategic gameplay. Okay. Sorry, I had to read all of that, and I had to, like, mumble it so that way I could keep track. So, point by point. Caps out there that are climbing every game, if they have the game sense and the ability to work with his kit, I don't care. Like, I am so, like, I don't like this, and I'm not, like, shaming you, because I get it, but also, the thing is, with, like, Cap's not that strong. Like, I'm not saying that he's not strong at all, but like you just said, he just distracts. He will either kill your strats, or if your strats can counter him and they don't kill him, he's distracted and he needs to run back to his team, and then he can't be in a fight. Like, it is very, very difficult when I'm dealing with a cap that is on me, and I agree with the fact that it is annoying, but Cap and Venom are dive. If you try to play them frontline tank, they don't work. And you can't only have traditional tanks, because then when you start making duelists that have all these different kits that counter traditional tanks, you don't really have much of an option. I understand what you're trying to say, but I can't agree with it. And it's not because I don't believe what you're saying, is that, like, Mr. Fantastic was a little more of a problem because he's a duelist that has a kit that I don't think the game was ready for. Like, if I'm being completely honest with you, I feel like he probably should get his old kit back once we have a better roster of characters to work with, because being completely fair to, like, Mr. Fantastic and how he's supposed to function, he like, was supposed to be a pseudo tank. He was supposed to be a mix that no one could deal with, because how are you supposed to deal with someone who does more damage than your average Vanguard, but then just lives forever? And that's why it's like, I do understand what you're saying, and I don't think that you're wrong that these are hard to counter, especially in low level, like, lobbies. But the higher rank you get, the more complex it becomes, because the higher you get, once you hit a certain point, strats and duelists are also capable of, like, trying their best and learning how to counter certain things. And then caps have to deal with a different level of game sense, because it's not the same. And you might say, well, it's still a problem. Oh god, that frame drop is crazy. Oh, well, it's still a problem for lower level lobbies. And I can empathize with that. But it's not on the Captain America player who's good at playing Captain America to change the way that he plays, or to play worse just because some people aren't prepared for him. I get frustrated and I rage, but I do try to be, like, somewhat rational outside of games, because I know that if I carried the mentality I have during my games into, like, the way that the game is actually, like, built and it's supposed to function, there would be a huge problem, and it wouldn't be a good thing for me. Saw characters and turtle tech characters. The game, I agree with you that the game is not ready. I 100% agree with you that the game is not ready for the different, like, builds that some of the game has, especially when you consider that the, like, you have three you have three strat types. And I'm not talking about the kind that, like, you'll find on a YouTube tutorial. I mean, like, you genuinely have only a few strat types, and it's mass heals, mass buffs, or AoE heals. And I only say that because, like, Jeff is technically AoE healing, so is Adam, and so is Ultron. Invis, Loki, and Luna are all mass healing. And while Luna does provide a bit of utility, Mantis, Rocket has utility with his revive, like, so on and so forth, that it really is kind of a thing of its own. And so the issue is, like, one, that Strategist is the only healing role, and they're all, like, squishy. Because, and people will say, oh, well, if it's a tank and it can heal, then that's going to be so OP. But it opens the way for other, like, builds to be made. It opens the way for different, like, types of kits to exist. Because as much as I don't necessarily want to have to deal with a swap because of anti-heal or burn or whatever the fuck it is, like, as much as I do not want to deal with that as a mass problem where a bunch of characters have it, I would also be completely talking out of my ass and being delusional if I said that this game, in the state that it is, needs to stay the way that it is. It's not that it doesn't work, it's that it takes so much work to work. And I get it. I don't mean in the sense that, like, oh, it's not easy for everyone to play, because I don't believe that it should be easy for everyone to play. It is an online competitive game. And while they do try to give a lot of things to the casual players, the fact remains that it is competitive at its core. The point is to win. You either win or you lose. It's not a dating sim where you have a bunch of different routes. It's not an RPG where you have a bunch of different things you can do. It's not built to be anything but a win or lose game. And people talk about, like, I know I'm going on a rant rather than playing the game, and I'm sorry for that, but I think this is a very, like, interesting discussion to have currently. Yeah, like, I don't, we're peak, well, that was an accident, like me. Anyway, like, we're peak platinum players. That doesn't necessarily mean, like, too much in the grand scheme of things, but, like, there's a certain level of, kind of, like, what is happening when we're in lobbies and we're not able to get anything because, one, Smurfs are their own issue, but, like, I believe NetEase is trying to deal with that because it is such a problem. But I've done this before. I've done this to people before. It is hilarious. Anyway, it's frustrating for them, but it's hilarious for me in the moment. Sorry, going back to the topic at hand.
Here they come.
I feel like Marvel Rivals, because here's the thing, you don't have role queue, right? You don't have role queue. So, because we don't have role queue, people not wanting to play Strategist is an issue. But I completely understand why they do not want to play this role. It is not just, it's not because it's hard, necessarily. Because while I don't agree with Necros, I don't remember the exact wording, while I don't agree that Strategist is a boosted role, that might not be the wording he used, please do not quote me on that. I also don't think that this is, like, necessarily the hardest role in the game with what your job is. I feel like it's the hardest to play in low to mid-level lobbies because of the fact that you have a bunch of stuff that relies on dive. Like, the minute... yeah. I don't necessarily... I don't agree, but I can't say I disagree either. I'm kind of neutral on that, because, like, I get what you're saying. Vanguards, like, strats have to keep the team alive. Well, yeah, when you're, especially in high level play, it is going to be more and more stressful. But, like, I'm talking from my perspective, like, not necessarily based on skill level or what ceiling you're at or where you are in the game. But if we're talking about the role's fundamentals, you are right that every role has stress. And it could be argued that strats have the most stress because, well, you've seen it happen. You have seen it happen where we have been playing games where the moment that I die, everyone else dies. Everyone else dies, because the second strat can't keep everyone alive, and that's not their fault. It's just a matter of, like, unfortunate circumstance. However, I can't blame people for not wanting to play the role. Not because it's stressful, but because, I mean, really look at it. Like, really look at the situation that a lot of strats are put in, because, you know, you're, like we just said, there's a certain level of, like, dive that's going on. Because as soon as flyers stopped being viable for going in your backline, that's when dive became an issue. Because currently, the best way to win the game is to get strats out of the game. It is. And there's no, like, there's no talking around that point. That's just a fact. It's just kind of the way it is. And it sucks for someone that plays strat and actually loves her role. I love playing strat because I do like being able to help my teammates. I like being able to see what's going on from the backline. And unfortunately, there's not really a good way to win the game if you're not taking out strats. Like, yeah, people can say, oh, well, you can just take out this duelist on the side. Like, you can look for picks and you can take out duelists and you can just gaggle onto a Vanguard and then you can't outdo the damage. And while that's true, it's not the most effective way. That's why people started picking up Black Panther and Spider-Man, because flyers stopped being viable. And I don't blame them for doing that, because losing isn't fun. No one wants to lose. Shut up, Bucky. Yeah. It is very, I agree with you. It is very difficult, and it is very upsetting. And I don't necessarily blame people for playing the way that they do. On a fundamental level, this is a game that relies on winning and losing. There is no other goal. Yeah, it's very frustrating and upsetting as someone who does love this game, who loves playing this game. It's just not fun to not be allowed to play the game. But it doesn't, like, yeah, it's like, I do not at all blame you for having these thoughts about it, because it's, I feel like Marvel Rivals has so much potential, and the game's not even a year old, but yeah, because, like, Scarlet Witch is really easy to counter. Unless you have god level positioning as Scarlet Witch and you can just get in and get out, which you have to basically play her dive to do, she's not really that hard to counter. Even her ult is not that hard to counter. Like, Phoenix, Hela, not hard to counter, unfortunately. And they're all countered by the same thing, and that thing is primarily dive. Dive and, well, better positioning, honestly. But that's not something that can really be fixed, like, by anyone. And I don't blame duelists. Like, as much as I will scream and I will lose my shit in games because it is so frustrating, I don't blame duelists for wanting to win games and not lose to strategists that are just standing in the back line. I don't blame vanguards for wanting to win games instead of standing there slow pushing for like 10 minutes when they could be winning the game with dive. And I don't blame strategists for not being able to heal their team while they're trying to manage keeping themselves and each other alive. Yeah.
Here they come.
It's, again, it comes back to the whole, I do think we need more kits. I don't necessarily think that going with traditional Vanguard and Duelist and Strategist roles or support roles are necessarily healthy for the game. I know that a lot of people are going to laugh at me for this, and I don't blame them, but yeah, it's a hard call. 'Cause, like, okay, like I said, people are gonna laugh at me for this. I look at League of Legends. I'm waiting for the laughter to stop because I know people are laughing at that. And I'm not saying League of Legends is necessarily good, because League of Legends has a very different problem in the fact that they
Here they come.
over-rely on the same types of characters when they have a bunch of different kits that you can try to use. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying League is better, because I'm not. I played League, I still play League, it's still kind of ass. But, not that Marvel Rivals isn't also kind of ass right now. But, what I will say is that League of Legends gives a lot of credit to the fact that there are so many different kits to play with. You have anti-heal, and yes, it usually comes from, like, items, but you have wound, you have anti-heal, you have bleed, you have piercing, you have damage reduction, you have resist, you have magic resist, and I understand that those come from, like, item builds. But if you're, and that's partially because of the fact that you can't swap once you're in a game of League. But if they're not going to diversify the kit pool, which they're starting to do specifically for duelists, and I understand why, because it doesn't make sense to have Blade or whatever, like, hello. Oh, thank you. Sorry, my husband just brought me banana nut bread, because he's a sweetheart.
Banana bread?
At work, my guy? Hell yeah! I love banana bread. Banana bread's great. Oh, I should call my Nana later, because I call her Banana. Anyway, that's a completely different thing. When it comes to when it comes to, like, a lot of the kits, I do think that NetEase kind of has to make a decision, because they either have to add in a way to buff your stats and be able to counter, because I'm going to be completely real with you, certain characters, like, yeah, some of them are counters, and some of them just don't function, because they are, like, there is a, words, hold on, give me a second. Hold on, I need to mute myself real quick. I have no idea if that was muted or not. Anyway, I'm hoping it is. the thing is they kind of have a really tough spot because...
Here they come.
Shut up, Bucky. Because if they do not diversify the kits, they're gonna have to find a way to actually make, like, playing certain characters viable. Because the fact that the counter to Scarlet Witch is to just target her is kind of a problem. Like, I'm not saying that she needs to be buffed. It's not that I think any characters right now necessarily need to be buffed. It's the fact that if you can look at a character and you counter them just by looking at them and aiming at them, there's a bit of an issue. And as the kits are getting more complex, it's going to continue to kind of spiral. Because, like, again, I understand the reason why item builds exist with League of Legends is because you can't change your character. Like, once you're in a game, you can't change it. There's nothing that you can do. So the item builds are supposed to complement what your character is supposed to do, and then also, like, build on it and counter things. And there are natural counters in League of Legends, just like there are natural counters in Marvel Rivals. The problem is that Marvel Rivals only has hero counters, and as the kits get more complex, certain characters aren't going to be viable anymore because of the fact that, like, what can they do? And you can't 6v1 them every time, because sometimes, that's fine, because sometimes, guess what, like, you can't really 6v1 Cap or Venom or, well, I guess you could try 6v1ing Spidey or Black Panther, but the thing is, if you try to do that, is you're losing pressure on the point, the enemy team's probably pushing, and if you don't kill them, they can just come right back, especially if they're squishy dive, because they can get healed really, really quickly. And Spidey and Black Panther are two of the most mobile, like, characters in the game. Venom is also extremely mobile, but Venom requires a certain cycling of his abilities, and he doesn't really do damage. Cap probably has the least mobility, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like it makes sense that some of the kits were made that they were out of the box. And I feel like it wasn't always this, like, bad, necessarily. Like, Dive didn't always feel this bad, but it started to feel really bad after Flyers, like, got essentially nerfed into the ground. Because they did need something else. They needed something else. Because again, if strategists are just free real estate in the backline, what are you gonna do? Do you want to, like, call and discuss this further? That way, like, I don't have to go looking for the chat, because I think this would actually be a really good video. Unintentional, unscripted video. Banana bread. Sorry, banana bread.
What's up?
Sorry, I had Discord closed because I needed to make sure I wouldn't start lagging in the middle of my games.
That's fair.
Banana bread.
Banana bread at work, dude. Anyway, yeah, I can, I already can feel the gaze of people like being like, like, why are you crying about dive? Why are you crying about dive? Thing is, I should know because I've been on both sides of like bullying someone's weaknesses in game strategically and like finding out what their weaknesses and like cracking them. Like,
You mean because
if
you're
you
a
play
strange main and you would get strategists to run away from their team and then you would corner them and you would just bash their heads in?
spoken like someone who was on the other side of that once or twice.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so there's a fundamental difference of like hanging in a team game and finding someone's weakness in particular and capitalizing on that weakness and using it to break their team. If you've played DBD,
No,
every bully, like,
no,
yeah,
not
I'm
Dead
gonna
by
bring up,
Daylight.
yeah, I'm gonna bring up bully squads. This is where we're going. If you were a killer and you played against bully squads, you would go through a genesis, right? You'd be like, this is unbeatable. I'm gonna lose every game. And when you're like me, you went to the drawing board. What do I do to beat this? How can I beat this? And the answer was almost always stall until you find who is the weakest link, target them out, and then work up the list of the weakest players. Because what is a bully squad when they don't have the anonymity of all four running in different directions? So you can't. So they're making you expend more time, right? And with more time, you get more stress. It's a psychological game at that point. But if I beat whoever is the weakest immediately, then they're 3v1, and then the stress is starting to go towards them. So when I target the next weakest person, the two runners on their team or whoever's or maybe they're all runners or whatever, but if I get them down to two people, now the odds are significantly more in my favor because if I win one chase, then it's a 1v1 and the game is over if I win that chase and they can't keep me occupied and get both of their people up and have one doing gens and one running me for the entire game. That's almost kind of the same philosophy as how to beat when you break a team. That's how you break a team. So how do you break a team in Marvel Rivals? If you're in a team fight with a 2-2-2 comp and there's no dive, you team fight, you find out who's really strong, who's really weak, and then you capitalize on who's the weakest. And you isolate them from who's the strongest, and then the strong people lose their ability to hang in the team fight, right? They lose their strengths because they're singled out. They have no cover. They have no one.
Yeah.
They have no one to keep attention off, like, of them, so they can do what it is that their strong suit is. So when you have characters that are, my kit is so I can do this in the 2-2-2 comp in the traditional team fight, next to characters who are saying, I do not team fight. I subvert the team fight. I don't even participate in it, and all I do is target the weak link. That is unhealthily subverting the core gameplay in a way that it unfairly makes it to where the 5 other people in the team fight or the 4 other people in the team fight don't need to fundamentally understand the core of the game in that way anymore, because all of a sudden in the middle of their team fight their enemies' strats are gone, and that makes the team fight. It invalidates it. It trivializes it. It makes it to where it's not actually a team fight. It doesn't require. And yes, it requires skill to play dive. Yes, it requires skill to play the 2-2-2 traditional team fight, right? But what skill does it take when, as soon as you get into the team fight, a strat disappears off the face of the planet because a Black Panther pressed a couple of buttons, and he's now already back in his backline, or already in the spawn, waiting for that strat who has to return to the rest of their team, right? How many times have you been singled out and then the fuck, and I say the fuck because this is trivializing, boring, yawning, trash gameplay. They kill you, they freaking use their mobility to fly straight to your spawn door, and when you come out, they kill you again. That is not Rivals. That is not core gameplay. It's really trash, to be honest, but that's my personal opinion. What it really is fundamentally, in a way that I can quantify and explain to whatever viewers see this video, is it is subverting and countering a core part of the game in such a way that the game is not playable in the essential way that the developers made it to be played. They made dive characters with the intention that they will join and participate in the team fight and single out the weak links, and then return to the team fight and give their pressure to that team fight and win the team fight. But that's not what dive does. That's not what dive mains do, and they know. And if they try and fucking argue that that's not what they do, they're delusional as fuck, because the mains that know what the hell is going on will absolutely agree with me that in the games where strats or certain DPS are weak, they just hound them, and they win the game for free at that point.
I mean,
it's
you
not
saw,
for free because
like, you saw the game that I played, right, with the dive invisible woman, right?
Yeah, see, like, now everyone's playing every character like dive, and you see how much it changes the core gameplay loop to the point where normal people go, what the fuck? This is boring. This is trash.
It's
like,
boring, and it's not. At that point, you're not playing a game. You're just being obnoxious. But again, I can't be mad at them for doing it because it's viable for a reason, and the only point of the game is to win. So if the only point of the game is to win and they want to win, then they're going to do that. And I can only be so upset.
It's true. And the way that we work so well together is you operate on the logic side of things, while I operate more on, like, the how things feel, how things are.
Yeah.
What is the relationship to other things in the game? If I call something unfair, you've called me out many times and asked me, why is it unfair? How is it unfair? And I have to explain it because I have to be able to quantify why.
You have to be able to actually defend it beyond, okay, well, if it's not fair, why? And I don't judge you for feeling like certain things are unfair. I would get upset with you because, again, like, there's a certain etiquette that I think there should, like, be had when it comes to losses. I know I don't particularly carry that as well as I thought I would, and I will admit that I was really harsh on you, and I shouldn't have been, because
I didn't always deal with the sting. I didn't always deal with the sting of feeling like I lost the game for my team very well, and mostly I would look for something to blame, and there was no shortage of things to blame. And while I will give dive players this benefit, like, if I was that good at the character, I would feel justified in saying, well, I've invested I've invested climbing a skill ladder, so I deserve to be rewarded with these wins. But then again, like, I would, in that conversation with that theoretical person that was saying that, I would say, yes, and I've climbed a skill ladder too with Thing and Strange and stuff like that. The problem is, our skill ladders are not the same. Yours puts you in a position where you are so much more likely to win consistently than I am, even though we have invested the same amount of time and played the same amount of games. And it doesn't show that it's skill versus skill, get good, like, stop crying, stop whining, just get better. It's at some point we have to fundamentally address how much harder or easier it is for certain characters in those situations to win and play the game in a way that like trivializes the other side. We have to notice the elephant in the room when it comes to that. And I'm not saying dive, but I can already hear it. Dive players get free wins, says Vanguard main. Who doesn't understand? I do understand. I play all 3 roles. I used to just main Strange, and I couldn't win every game, and I would get mad because I didn't understand team games. But now that I do, I can obviously see the elephant in the room is that some DPS are just built different, and they don't have any. They don't have, like, ask a Scarlet Witch main with 1,000 hours and 10,000 games, how many games they've lost to Black Panther, and listen to that. They might go on an hour rant or a 10-minute rant or something like that. They'll also rant about things like Strange or things like that counter them. But ask a strat main what they lose to all the time, and they'll say, "Oh, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Venom." Ask another DPS main what they lose to all the time, and they'll probably say, "Oh, Black Panther, Winter Soldier, Venom, Spider-Man."
Mhm.
And then ask the Vanguard as well what they lose a majority of their games to, and they'll say, "Oh, well, I played a good game, but we've lost because of dive."
Mhm.
That's fundamentally askew. I'm not going to say it's wrong,
Mhm.
but it's just not right.
So, I think that I get what you're saying. I think that sorry. I think that there's like a certain level that's not there because like as we discussed before, unfortunately, Spider-Man and Black Panther, for example, their kits are extremely hard to use. There's a certain level of spatial awareness, of timing on abilities that you have to grasp, and like you said, like there is a huge like issue with the fact that the way that they win is by taking out strategists, because I know that I don't like strategist being called healer, and I don't like it because that's not all I do. I tend to be the one making calls, I tend to be the one that's watching what's happening, I know how things are, like, operating in the game. I have to do a lot more than just heal people. But if we're being completely honest about what strategist genuinely does, and what their purpose is, they just heal. That is the only fucking thing that strategists are given. If you want to argue like, oh, well, Mantis and Adam Warlock and Ultron are technically DPS because they do so much damage, congratulations. They do damage. Mantis, in her
The
case,
thing is
buffs
that
people, but
all
I'm
all
gonna
they
keep
do is
going. I need to keep going.
yeah, go ahead.
The thing is with that, though, is that damage doesn't make up for anything. Because Mantis, like, if you have Mantis and Ultron on a team, you better hope that your Ultron and your Mantis are able to get kills like crazy, and that they're secretly just 2 other DPS, because their healing power, in a majority of cases, is not going to do what you need it to do. And that's kind
They're
of
not on the same level as other strats as far as pure healing.
yeah, and that's kind of the issue of we do not have other characters that heal. The closest that we have currently is Blade's Lifesteal. That's the actual closest that we have. And I will be
And
adamant
maybe Phoenix self heal and like Wolverine, but that you have to play Phoenix plus Wolverine for that to happen, and they don't heal anybody else but themselves.
yeah, it's kind of a thing of, again, an issue where we don't really have a lot of options in the way of no one else heals. You're not really going to be able to have a bunch of utility like strats or actual strats like that are supposed to be doing something that isn't healing if there is no one else who heals, or if they're just all squishy. Give me a buff strategist. Give me a tanky strat. Like,
Yeah, buff strat, low damage, decent healing.
Yeah. Or
Like-
just make them a whole like utility thing. And their thing is the fact that like they're a frontline strat. Make it a
Yeah,
frontline strat.
versatility. Yeah, versatility.
Because I don't think that this is good. The fact that the reason why Dive has so much like free real estate is because all the strategists are squishy. There's nothing to be done about it. All the strats are squishy as hell.
Yep, they're easy to kill. And here's the thing: I just got this out of the ether because of something that you mentioned. You mentioned the Mantis Ultron thing. They keep making characters. We just mentioned Fantastic. They keep making characters that are like, oh, this character's niche is that they do multiple things at the same time. But there's a problem with doing multiple things at the same time. When you do multiple things at the same time, what are you not doing? You're not doing one thing well. You're doing multiple things at the same time. So when your healers are, when you have people that choose to play a healer that does multiple things and is juggling multiple things, they almost always drop one ball. We need more healers that just do one thing because Dive only does one thing, targets the weakest link. That's why it's so good, and that's why this is such a glaring issue. They're walking a razor's edge, trying to make every character do everything when I don't know why they're unreasonably afraid to make a character do what they do and have that be it.
I don't quite think that that's true. I think that the mixed builds is a good thing. I just don't think that we have enough versatility for it to be viable. Like, for example, Mantis can work well in a comp with, like, Luna or Cloak and Dagger or Loki, but with that comes the fact that she has to be played with someone who can do a lot of burst healing. Maybe someone like Rocket, who has the revive to make up for the fact that he probably doesn't heal as much, or like because he has such huge range to his heals. But like, it's not viable to have hybrid characters. It's the fact that you can't have a Mantis and an Ultron on your team when you don't have other characters that heal. Like, people talk about, oh, well, triple strat is cheap. The reason why triple strat was working is because it was usually DPS Jeff, which got taken out back and shot 16 times in the head.
Reasonably so.
Loki and Cloak and Dagger, or it would be Luna, Loki, Jeff, or Luna, Loki, Cloak and Dagger, or Luna, Loki, Mantis. Like, it was viable for a reason. Like, the reason why it worked is because, oh, well, we have one person who's doing utility. Because I'm telling you right now, if they're doing triple strat and Mantis is on that, which she should be, she's not in there for the purpose of heals. She's in there to just buff her team and put up their attack stat. Because Luna and Loki, or Cloak and Dagger and Loki, or even Jeff and Loki, will handle the rest of the healing. And then you better be hoping that you're getting headshots in case you do, for whatever reason, need to heal. But then Mantis also does the damage buff. It doesn't just heal, it gives damage buff, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it does both at the same time. Gradual healing, damage uptick, stuff like that.
I feel like another way to try to fix the issue would be to, and you may disagree with me on this, add more health to the game just in general. Like, bring up the health of everyone collectively, because I don't think, especially with season bonuses, that, like, there's a huge difference between 800 and 600. There just is.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of casual players and comp players would kind of agree on the fact that dying instantly to basically what you perceive as nothing, and then watching a kill cam where some unrelated character who's in the team fight just suddenly looks over at you and does like one or two things in the span of 1 to 2 seconds and kills you is just meh. It's just meh.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't look good, and it doesn't, like, when you are looking at that as someone who dies to it, it doesn't look like you died to any sort of skillful thing or anything. It just looks like everybody is too fragile.
Everyone's too
And
fragile.
on the other
Like,
side,
I will say, I think that the Thor stuff needed to change. Like, people will say, oh, well, Flax is stupid because Flax doesn't understand Thor and he didn't understand it. Thor is a DPS tank now. The artillery Thor is viable, and that is the funniest shit to me. Artillery
would say
Thor is
that-
great.
I kind of agree with the niche take that his kit doesn't fit him as a character, like aesthetically, but game-wise, he represents like his own thing. I like when characters do their own thing and they do one thing and that's the thing they do. And if you play against that character, you have to be ready for that thing and play around that thing. I feel like that is good for the game. And Thor being like, oh, I'm a stall, oh, I'm a DPS burst, oh, I'm a tank, I'm doing all these things at the same time. There were so many problems that that ultimately stem from I'm a character, watch me do 12 things at the same time when I should just do
Again,
one
you're
or two
not-
things
you're-
well.
No. That's not the takeaway here. Because, like, the issue with Thor wasn't that he didn't do anything well. The issue with Thor was that he did one thing particularly well, which was live forever. People will say, oh, well, Thor he didn't live forever. No, live forever Thor was a real problem. I stand by that statement.
Yeah, it was that people learned how to play him in a specific way that made him kind of not function as intended. Because when I played Thor, I didn't play him as I'm going to stall forever and be unkillable forever. I swapped between. I did what I thought he was designed to do, which was to swap between being frontline and backline tank.
Not,
peeling, and
kind
then-
of, but like, what Forever Thor would do is Forever Thor was dive. So they took Forever Thor out of the game so he couldn't dive anymore. Like, he
I
can
don't
still
think
try to,
anything
he can still try to dive your backline with his rune. But like, those were good changes for him. Not because he was doing too much at the same time, but because he did one thing a little too well for all the stuff he was doing. Especially when you consider that he could just do his rune over and over and over again, so he would just go in your backline and rune your backline. And now he can't really do that because he's a lot more fragile. Like, he has to try to snipe your strats from a distance now. And if he does get in your backline, it's usually because he has beaten down a couple of other people in the team.
And he still is kind of doing the same thing, but the health changes have kind of made it a little bit more healthy, where it doesn't feel like you have.
Well, he's not living
And I'm gonna
forever
say-
anymore.
I'm going to say it this way: damage venom coming at you, because I have always believed, even though I like the idea of having multiple different playstyles in the game, I don't think there should be dive tanks in the game. Because
I can't agree with that. Because again,
it's
well, what other options do you have? Because if you start saying that we shouldn't have dive tanks in the game, where does that stop? It becomes, well, we shouldn't have artillery Thor. Well, we shouldn't have backline tanks. And then you're just stuck with that, because if you start getting rid of one thing, you will start getting rid of everything else. Dive tanks are viable. Venom is probably not the best example to use in this, like, example, because of the fact that Venom in particular is, like, really, not, like, he doesn't do nearly as much damage as you think he does. If he's in your backline with another dive character, I guess he can, but, like,
No, it's not that he does
Venom's
damage, because-
well, yeah, that's my point. He doesn't do damage.
Yeah, that's a good point, but the problem is it actually kind of stems from that as well. He doesn't need to do damage. He just needs to stand there in your backline and be a problem, and then all of a sudden the team fight is falling apart for no reason, just because he exists. And that's why I say there shouldn't be dive tanks. There should be dive DPS.
That
Tanks
doesn't make,
are-
okay, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense because I have had a Spider-Man just play around with me in the backline for, like, I think at one point almost up to 15 seconds. So that argument doesn't work. Because if the issue is, oh, well, it's in the back line and it's distracting the back line, then, well, you kind of just have to take dive out of the game entirely, because it doesn't matter if it's tank or duelist or what. Like, DPS will have the staying power. If they really are good with that character, they'll have staying power. It won't matter. 'Cause,
That's kind of my point is kind of that if you want to do dive, it needs to be on 250 or 300 health, because you kind of
that's
unfairly alter
Nope,
the game
that
when
still
you
doesn't
have
matter.
dive. When you have dive on a 600 to 800 health character, because they can stand around and kind of dirtle and turtle, and then especially if they can get away.
DPS. Here's what you don't understand. Black Panther, like the dive DPS that we have, are extremely mobile. Any DPS that goes dive, for all of them that are capable of going dive, are extremely mobile. So they don't need to be shorter health, because they will just get away from you and find a health pack. And if that doesn't do the trick, they'll go to their team and then they'll immediately come back, and they will do so faster because they have a smaller health bar to fill. So again, I understand your point, but I feel like you are very heavily overlooking the fact that it is still the same problem with a different flavor if you were to try to take dive out. Like, as a tank issue. Like, it's just a different flavor of the problem. Do I think, like,
I just think it's like fundamentally different when it's on a huge health bar, because then you can get away with diving right in the front line, and if you have a healer behind you, it trivializes it. Like, it makes it to where there's no skill involved. It's just people running for it.
Okay,
And
no, I need you to take a breath. I need you to take a breath, because you're trying to make your point, but now you're starting to say things that are generalizations that I not only disagree with, but that just aren't true. So take a breath, take a breather, try to collect your thoughts, because I don't know if you're just like struggling to come up with the words because you feel like I'm not understanding you, which I understand because I do myself, but it's not translating well. I need you to take a minute.
yeah, it just feels like the conversation is kind of going in a way where, like, you understand what I'm saying, but you're stepping around the biggest problem that's present, which is that dive doesn't need to be out of the game. It just, in my opinion, needs to be fundamentally not attached to giant swollen health bars
But
and
I already
mobility.
kind of explained why that doesn't matter. Like, I already told you why. Like, the health bar doesn't matter. Especially because any, like, tank can technically be played as dive. You do know that, right? Like, I was dealing with dive Thing in one of the last games I played. And dive Emma is also very viable. And dive Strange
Yeah, but
also
they're not.
exists.
Yeah, but I understand, like, but
Actually,
they're
I
not
think Emma
designed
is
for
made
that
more
purpose.
for dive than you realize, because she just goes diamond form, launches in your back line, and all of a sudden your strategist is 2-tapped.
But that's the thing. That character does not immediately and then in that position, once she has done that, have, okay, I'm going to tap a button and be all the way back to my team with no downtime and no risk whatsoever.
I mean, Thing can do that, Venom can do that, Cap technically can't, depending on what map you're on, because if he overextends himself and the strategist is way in the back, it's going to take him a lot longer to get back to his team. So, again, no, Spider-Man and Black Panther have better mobility than Cap. If you want to argue that Venom shouldn't have the mobility he does for the dive thing, well, that also doesn't work, because he doesn't do damage. And while he does technically have a quote-unquote second health bar, he isn't really, like, again, you have to be able to cycle his abilities fairly well.
Yeah, it just feels misshapen in some areas, like, especially in ranked. It feels like misshapen and weird to, like, go against them, because it feels like they're stepping around certain, like, unalienable truths of the game, and, like, team comps can be built around like the problem that they create, and there's no real like workaround for it. There's like
And
no
I understand that, but the answer isn't to remove tanks' ability to do that. Because if you take away their ability to dive, which part of the reason why they're able to do that is because they are survivable, and like Thing is actually really good for dive. And I know you don't like hearing that because you love playing Thing, but you've done it yourself. Even if you don't like label him as dive in the same way that Cap and Venom are, he is technically dive. And so where I get where you're coming from, but taking tanks and their ability to dive out of the game is not going to actually enforce anything. In fact, it would probably make the game a lot worse because all of a sudden tanks can't peel for their backline because they can't get back to their backline fast enough if their backline is being dove by duelists. And then they can't chase after duelists, and they can't chase after picks, and then they can't use like certain abilities because that's kind of the issue that you run into, where I understand what you're trying to say, but fundamentally there's a reason why it doesn't work. And I think that I think personally that the answer is create different types of like characters. Like instead of duelists just being a damage thing where, oh, look at all these cool attacks that they can do, give one of them like the ability to apply damage reduction to something. Like give them damage reduction, or give them like, or not damage reduction, but like give them like the ability to like decrease someone's durability or something like that. Give them the ability to heal someone, or heal them, like technically Blade heals himself, but like give a tank the ability to heal, or like make a bulky strategist, make a frontline strategist, make a vanguard that is in the backline, and like do something with
or
that.
make a flying tank. Make a DPS that's point is not damage, like Rogue, be able to like touch a teammate and buff their healing or buff their damage, or touch an enemy and reduce their damage output or reduce their healing output.
Because like I'm not disagreeing with you that dive is a problem, and I see it continuing to be a problem for the next however long it takes for strategists to be able to properly fight back. Because again, I hate the argument of use your crowd control. Most of them don't have crowd control. Loki's rune was nerfed, so if Loki uses his rune to protect himself and kill that dive character, guess what? By the time that he's back to his team, it's probably still not going to be up, and he could be targeted down extremely easily because he's new in the fight and it's a new body, so they'll just automatically target onto him. Mantis's sleep, projectile, not guaranteed.
Miss it, you're dead.
Yeah.
Miss it, you're
Luna,
dead.
projectile. Miss it, you're
Miss
dead.
it, you're dead.
Yep.
Same problem.
It's one of those things where it's super easy to say that this is the counter, and I'm sure there are people that can do it, but I don't think, as much as I do think that this is a competitive game and it should be treated as such, like as much as people complain like, oh, well, I want to play casually, that's not your problem. Like, that's not my problem, and that's not your problem, that this is a competitive game that you're trying to play casually. And they'll say that, like, oh, well, we're trying to make it a casual game. You give a lot of things to casual players, but let's be honest. We both know what this is.
Yeah, if you guys were serious about it being casual versus ranked, there would be certain things not allowed in ranked and certain things not allowed in quick play.
Yeah.
If we're being completely 100% real and down, like, to the bone with it.
Yeah, so, like, let's be honest with the fact that this is a competitive game. It is an online competitive game, and I give it the fact that it is less than a year old. I will give it that credit that it is less than a year old, because I don't want to dog on this game. I do love this game. I do, like, have a very heavy soft spot in my heart for this game, because this game is one of the reasons why I was able to, like, bond with you and get to know you, and you are now, like, my moderator, and you're one of my best friends. So, like, this is not at all something that I am saying lightly, but the fact that, we don't have that versatility is going to continue to be a problem. Give me a frontline strategist. Give me a backline, like an actual backline tank. I don't mean Magneto, because Magneto hangs around in the backline, but he's not an actual, like, find a way to give me a squishy Vanguard. Give me a glass cannon Vanguard. That would be interesting.
Or like high damage Vanguard whose versatility and movement over like tankiness.
Yeah, because again, hybrid characters are not a problem. Having characters that are hybrids of different roles is not the problem here. The problem is that there's no way to deal with the hybrids that we have. Mr. Fantastic had to be nerfed not because he was too strong necessarily, but because no one was ready for it. There's nothing that you can do against Mr. Fantastic at his like peak strength. Because what are you going to do? There's no way to deal with him.
Yeah, you can't 1v1 him. You
know who could have dealt with him? Like, if he had been released at the same time?
Blade.
Because Blade has anti-heal. And on top of, like, the anti-heal, Blade has lifesteal. So he probably would have been able to, like, outlast or stand a fight with Mr. Fantastic more so than anyone else could have. And
it would have been the one character that Mr. Fantastic can't just cycle and 1v1 for free
Blade
and not
himself.
have any strength.
Blade would have the lifesteal. He'd be able to heal himself. And the biggest counter to Mr. Fantastic if he goes into fridge mode is to just not hit him. Just stop hitting him.
Yeah, wait for him to come out of it and then target him as soon as he comes out of it.
Oh, for sure. Like, again, I know that a lot of this is easier said than done.
And I can hear, I'm taking a page from your book. I can already hear the people like, what did all the pros say about Dive? They're like, oh my God, just get good. I mean, CC, I mean, what are you guys doing? You're just throwing game. You're not that as good as you think you are. That's total bullshit. And I'm going to say it like that because that is total bullshit.
Yeah.
They know these just use this button. When they miss, it takes 15 seconds. What Black Panther or Spider-Man who doesn't know their combos cannot kill you in 15 seconds? Like when you're in the 1v1 and there's nothing else going on to stop them from doing what they do. That's just totally like, it's such a drool mouthed, like it's an out of touch, like rich person trying to deal with a poor person's problem mentality where they are skill rich and they just counter, they use these narrow margins to counter people, and they say, oh, everybody should know how to do this. And it's something that they don't realize that they're so good, they just do it, that other people have to play 1,000 more games than them to learn how to do it. And at that point, isn't it so annoying that it's like, by that time, a lot of people will have just quit because they're like, yeah, there's nothing I can do against this, and I'm tired of losing to it every game when I win every other game because of how good I am. But this thing just fucks it up for me every time. That is a bad feeling.
It's not good.
And
Again, I do not blame people for not wanting to play strategists. I really, really fucking don't. It's not because I think it's the hardest role in the game, but it's because you're not allowed to play the game. Can you imagine that? Like, I know that you say like, oh well, it feels bad because I can't do anything. I feel like even if you're affected by it, you and I are affected in very different ways when we come across Dive. Because yeah, you can't do anything against it, but you're not going 0-11 because of a fucking dive that's not leaving your spawn.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so weird because it necessitates the Vanguard or whatever DPS, and no, it can't be DPS because they have low health bars, they'll just die. It necessitates a Vanguard basically going back to spawn to be a chaperone just to get a strat back into the team fight. And that's the effect that one low health character has on a team. They're already like trivializing 2 or 3 people's efforts, and at that point you don't have a team fight. You have a 5v3 that's just gonna wipe every single time. Like it just feels wrong.
Yeah, I don't blame them for wanting to win games. It's not their fault that this is currently like the only way to really counter strategists, because strategists are the only healers in the game. Nothing else heals. And again, like I said, I know that there are going to be people that are going to say, oh, well, they're going to take, if you gave them a healing Vanguard, they're going to take that and they're going to do double strat with a healing Vanguard. And that's going to be OP.
Oh yeah,
But
they're gonna put it in 2-2-2, and they're gonna have 3 healers every game for free while having 2 vanguards. It's like that's not necessarily what we're saying.
no, I don't necessarily think that, because again, it's the triple strat problem. However, I would much rather, like, especially because people love playing DPS. So imagine if you're solo stratting and there's a tank player and they're playing a healing tank. It provides options. It makes it to where you are not the only one dealing with the stress. And then all of a sudden, strategists are allowed to do different things because, like,
They're no longer in their box.
they're no
longer
in a
in this
box.
boring.
It's not fun to be in a box. Like, oh my god. So I'm gonna bring this up, because this is something that I've noticed. No character benefits from being on the objective. And like, I'm sure there will be people that say, okay, well, that's not fair. We don't want characters that benefit from being on the objective because like it'll make it harder. Okay, but like look at the strategist role. Tell me that, like, because everyone says, okay, well, I need heals. The strategists aren't doing anything. The healers aren't doing anything. Because strategists are equated with healers, which is really annoying. But imagine, if you will, strategists that actually gained from being on point, from being in objectives. That would be so much more impactful and so much more versatile, because then people have to care about the payload, and then people like have to actually play around their team in a much different way that they're not doing right now, because a lot of people have main character syndrome. It is
Yeah, and they're
bothersome.
not being made to care about being in the team fight. That's why. Remember when we first started playing, and I used to say something that would annoy you, but you started asking yourself the question, and we started to talk about it more and more. I would say, why the fuck is our team fight all the way over here, and the payload is just in the back with nobody on it, and it's moving slow, and it doesn't matter. The objective doesn't matter right now. Why doesn't the objective matter right now? And then we started noticing the only time that the objective matters is domination. The only time the team fight is taking place around the objective, unless it's like a certain conditions, like for example, when you're on the convoy and you fight that first team fight, and then the defense wipes, the attackers are on the objective, right? And they're pushing the objective. Then on the next team fight, the defense wipes the attackers, right? The defense goes to the spawn to initiate the team fight at where the attackers are coming out. The payload is just sitting there. The objective is trivialized. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The objective doesn't matter. And that is like fundamentally meh. It's fundamentally wrong to me. It should be fundamentally wrong to people who play objective-based team games, because why does the objective not matter? Seriously, it might just be an irksome thing, and people might say, well, the team fight isn't happening there because the team fight is happening on a more significant portion of the map. Okay, push up your glasses and ask yourself the question again: why doesn't the objective in this objective-based team game matter right now? What makes it okay for this to happen consistently?
Yeah.
Nothing makes it okay. It's design-wise like it's wrong. There's something bothersome and irksome and should be annoying about it, like to people that are really thinking critically about it.
I feel like it really sucks because I played League, but like hero shooters I'd never played before, and I genuinely enjoyed Marvel Rivals. But currently I don't. It really sucks because before I started streaming again, I really wanted to like do a lot of Marvel Rivals content, outside of like my music and stuff, and I still do, but it definitely feels a lot less viable because you don't
Yeah, and
want
you know
to,
what?
like, let me put it this way. You don't want to play the game because you lose, which is more than fair. Like, you lose enough games, you stop wanting to play it because it's just not, the only point of the game is to win, so it's not fun losing all the time. And I'm not saying you lose every single game, but, like, you and I have had the same problem. That being said, it's not fun to not be able to play the game. Like, in the current state of the game, you just don't get to play it. Especially because of the, like, lobbies that you'll get and the amount of, like, Smurf accounts that there are. It's just not great. Like, everyone was making fun of the strategists going on strike because, oh, well, it's not that deep. You're right. It's not that deep. People just care that much about a game because they like the game. And they've spent money on the game more than likely. And while it's not that deep to
feel like,
you, because you don't care about it that much, other people are allowed to care about it more than you.
yeah, and if it's not lame and it's not cringe for someone to feel a calling to make a statement in a sort of an activism type way. I know activists are getting a bad rap in this country, as they should right now, because they're like a lot of people are doing kind of dumb things. Well, it's on both sides. People are doing meaningful things and that matter, and then people are doing like, why are you doing this type things? But it's not bad for people to care. Like, have you seen that? I think that this comment is really funny because people put it on YouTube videos nowadays of like, it's not bad, it's not cringe to unironically like something and care about it. Like, it's not. It's and it shouldn't be
It's the same
treated.
energy as the people who, like, when I get upset about pieces of media from companies, that, like, when I get upset about something that Marvel releases is bad, when I get upset about that, and people think, like, oh, well, it's not that deep, like, why can't you just enjoy it? Because I don't like watching something that I love being degraded and dismantled and being lower quality and value than it deserves. That's the point. That's the difference. And it's the same thing with Marvel Rivals. I'm not angry because I don't like the game. I'm not angry because I'm not winning. I'm angry because I love this game. This game was a huge motivator for me when I was, like, in a really bad spot. Even though it hasn't been out long, it was, like, it's something that I hold close to me for a reason, and I feel like people who get upset and people who are like, oh, well, you're being over-emotional about it, no. It just doesn't mean as much to you as it does to me. And that's okay. That's okay.
That doesn't make you dramatic. That doesn't make you dramatic. It doesn't make you cringe. It's not this whole. It's not that deep, bro. It's so shallow and so pedantic and so shitty to do, because those people would be quick to defend the things they give a shit about, while at the same time calling you cringe for doing the same thing, and they'll like even if they're willing to admit that it's the same thing, it's like it's still bad. Like, and there are people who are genuinely not willing to admit that it's the same thing, and they're like, oh, it's a video game, it doesn't matter as much as like movies or music because like, blah blah blah. But it's just fundamentally wrong. It's the same thing. It's the same
I
thing.
get it. It is. There is nothing wrong with caring about what you like. And part of caring means that you get angry. Emotional investment means that you care. Like, this is gonna sound really conceited and kind of, like, fucked up, but there's a reason why I don't particularly care for a lot of people anymore. And it's not because I hate people, I joke about hating people, but it's because of the fact that I do not have the energy to emotionally invest that deeply. And there is nothing wrong for the people, like, who can afford to do that. I am more than happy for them that they can, but I cannot. It isn't how I function anymore. It's just not what I'm capable of doing. And when I do care about something, I should be able to express my dislike of it without someone who doesn't see a problem with it telling me that I'm overreacting. Again, we care about it in different ways. You have other things going on in your life. You probably care about something else that I think is absolutely ridiculous to care about. But I don't go into your house and tell you that you shouldn't care about it as much as you do because I see you getting angry and kind of crashing out over it.
Yeah, you don't call me in the middle of something, like when we're talking off stream. You don't call me in the middle of something and say, "Well, why do you give a shit so much about this? It's not that deep, bro." Like that would be such a conceited and really stupid
Yeah,
like
I know that
stance to have.
when we first started playing together and you were kind of at the peak of your issues, I would kind of say that stuff to you, but it was mostly just like, oh, well, they're playing cheap stuff. And I'm like, why do you care? Because there's only a certain level of control that you can have. So there's only a certain level of, like, there's only a certain amount of caring you can really do when it comes to a game-to-game basis. But when it's, like, the fundamentals of a game, especially in, like, cases like mine, where as a strategist main, I just am not allowed to play the game if people are running a certain thing. Like, it sucks, and I feel like I'm allowed to be mad about that, and you're allowed to be mad about the state of the game as well. I just don't let you get mad over, like, the individual game to game. It's the state of the game, not, like, the matches. Which, even still, getting mad about those also makes sense, because, like, you care.
But fundamentally, you were more telling me like, yeah, it's morally bankrupt for someone to like choose the easy way out every single time and do it consistently. But what can you change by yelling into the ether? What can you change by yelling into someone's ear? What can you change by going online and saying these things to people so that they parrot them or like they agree with you and start sharing? Like, what does that change? And then I started to realize, oh, like it doesn't do anything.
No.
Like it's ultimately pointless.
Yep. But that's
And that
just it.
sucks.
It does. It does suck. It sucks that.
But it's sucking doesn't make it like untrue.
Yeah. Especially because, like,
Which is bad.
yeah. Especially because, like, again, I am a person, I'm very critical about the way that I see things. So, like, pieces of media, I tend to be very, like, highly critical. It doesn't matter if it came from something that I love. If it's ass, I will call it ass. I have no problem doing that. I have no qualms with it. Because I feel like fans should call it out. We shouldn't be I'm speaking broadly here, not in the terms of, like, Marvel Rivals. We should call out when companies are just feeding us sloth. Because when we set the precedent that it's okay for big companies to make low-level quality stuff, then
And make high quality money off of it.
yeah, you're
That's
just gonna
very
keep
important.
doing it. That's kind of the situation that we're in. Like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna use, oh, this is such a shocker. This is gonna be such a shocker, like, people are gonna look back on this and they're gonna like, what? I hate Loki as a show. I don't like Loki as a show. I think it's absolutely, like, atrocious. For what, like,
This is for new viewer context, she is a Loki super fan.
I am. I love Loki to a very unhealthy degree. I am very obsessed with this character. And I 100% admit, I don't like the show. I don't think that the show is, like, the worst thing in the world. I'm not going to go crazy and, like, say that people need to die or anything, because that's deranged. But I don't like it. I think that the quality of it could have been better handled if they had more time with it. I feel like the makeup and costuming was very rushed in some cases, though I did like a lot of the classic comic looks, and I think that those are great. I think the storytelling didn't know what it wanted to do with itself, and the only thing that I will give the show is that Loki got probably the best and most tragic ending that he could have, But, like, that doesn't erase the fact that I need to sit through Season 1 and Season 2 to get there. Because I know there's only 2 seasons, but, like, Season 1, in my opinion, is worse than Season 2. But I still have to sit through Season 1 to get to Season 2. And I do not like most of Season 2. Being completely blunt, I really don't. So, even more so, like, and I'm not, like, trying to shame anyone, because I'm sure that the people who, like, had to work on it did care. But in terms of, like, the way that it was put out, and how quickly it was put out, and, like, how quickly the production was expected to be, I really, honestly cannot say, genuinely, that I think that it is good. And I will stand by that. And other people are allowed to like it. I'm not going to sit here and judge people for liking it, because you know what? Yeah, some people just like Tom Hiddleston.
And this shouldn't be conflated. This shouldn't be conflated with you saying that it's complete garbage, because these people online, people who are chronically online, this is for you. I used to be exactly like you. Not everything is super peak. Oh my god.
Yeah,
And not
yeah.
everything is fucking trash. Oh my god. That's not like
No,
that's
that's
so
not
unhealthy
how it
and
works.
so banal.
It is. I am a lot more harsh than maybe I should be, but again, that's kind of just my own standards. And I understand that not everyone's gonna have those standards, and that's okay. And here's my thing, right? It's okay to like garbage. I'm gonna be completely 100%. It is okay to like something that isn't good. I mean, why do you think that, like, a lot of people like old cringy fan fiction, or like old problematic, like, quote unquote problematic series? It's because of the fact that even though it was bad, they liked it.
They had charm.
They
They
have an
had
attachment
something
to it.
that
Yeah, it's like,
they
there
had
is
something that
nothing
spoke to them.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with liking garbage. However, at least for me, just because it's not garbage to you doesn't necessarily mean it's the highest quality product. And I'm sure someone would turn around and say, oh, well, just because you think it's garbage doesn't mean it actually is. Yeah, that's kind of the issue with, like, the subjective take of, oh, well, art has different value to everyone, because when it's being made by a giant company that has a whole bunch of money, art really stops being subjective at that point and is just a matter of, you're not making art, you're just making money. And I really don't care about companies and how hard they work to make for their money. I care about the individual people that are working hard on it and are forced to meet extremely high deadlines. But, like, that's because that's not fair on them. And I don't particularly think that it's anyone's fault that things turn out the way they do. I genuinely do just blame companies for trying to milk everything for as much money as possible. And that's not just Disney that does it. It's not just Disney. I know it's not just Disney. But that's just the first one that comes to mind because we're talking about Marvel.
Here's a hot take, but it might be a hot take to some people. It might even be a little hot to me, but companies trying to make maximum profit off their product is capitalism. It's how things are. But when you have a media company and you try and maximize your profits while also minimizing the quality of what you make to the point where it's absolute shit and people are laughing it up, that's wrong.
I agree. I think that, especially because, hold on, let me look something up real quick while we're on the topic.
This became a just chatting stream.
Huh?
This became a chatting stream.
Yeah, I changed it.
For good reason. For good reason.
Yeah. So let's see. Most. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna. Okay, most. What was it? Okay. Actually, I'm gonna use a better example. How much money that is not how you spell that. the total budget for She-Hulk was $225 million. So you're telling me that you have $225 million to spend, and you made that. And I know there are some people that will say, oh, well, She-Hulk isn't that bad. Look, I will never, ever, ever, ever get over the interaction that she had with Bruce, in which she said that he will never understand how hard it is for her because she is a woman. That is, like, I usually keep my views to myself. I will firmly say this. I hate that. I hate that. I feel like there are a lot of places in the world where women are genuinely oppressed, and that is, like, a genuine problem. And I'm not going to sit here and look at Bruce Banner as a character who, even in the MCU, canonically tried to delete himself off of the earth because he believed he was a monster and he was scared of himself and he was suffering, and say that she had it harder because she's a woman. Again, I am very aware of the injustices that a lot of women face, and I can empathize with them, but this is not about whether or not in general it's harder to live as a woman. This is about this specific case of conversation between Professor Hulk or Bruce Banner or whatever you want to call it and She-Hulk. And that interaction is so asinine. And I will never like that show because of it. I will never, ever, ever like it. And is that a little extreme? Yes. Yes, it is. I do not care. Also, they ruined Matt Murdock as a character. That is a completely different conversation, though, and I'm not getting into it. I have a lot of gripes. Granted, I will say, I think Loki is probably, at least out of the Disney shows that they had been doing at that time, Loki's probably the least offensive of the ones. And I say offensive very loosely because I'm not so much offended by it as I am just disappointed in the quality.
That is absolutely fair.
Yeah. I know. It's, oh gosh, I was not expecting this to turn into, like, an entire, like, debate that, like, not even debate, but an entire conversation that became philosophical. That's crazy.
It became foundational in nature, let's say. But it's good because this kind of conversation, I feel like, is mostly had not on camera and not in a space where people can have it archived and people can go back to it and reference it and kind of work it over in their heads as being something that needs to be more openly talked about and more openly acknowledged.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there in the community right now who are giving tone deaf, out of touch, and I will say it, sometimes fucking brain dead takes that millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people see.
Yeah.
And because it's coming out of the mouth of someone who has this kind of pull in the community, and I'm not going to name anybody's names because it's come from everyone. It's come from people that we like. It's come from people that we don't like.
Mm-hmm.
People need to have these sort of like these sane, practical, pragmatic opinions that
Mm-hmm.
are malleable and accept new information, because people will say things and then just leave it there, and people will take it as fact, because
Oh, yeah.
it's not to say they're unintelligent, or it's not to say that they don't think for themselves, even if both of those things might be true or untrue. It's to say that the influence that people have on other people spreads in a way that's like, it's like viral. It's like it gets into people's psyches and they parrot these like takes to other people, and it's not to say the take is wrong, it's just to say that
It's
it spreads.
Yeah, it's one of those things about like critical thinking. Like in our discussions, you noticed like I disagreed with quite a bit of what you said today, but I was able to like actively counter your points and like talk to you about it and try to understand, because ultimately that's what a conversation is. And I don't necessarily I don't think I'm better than anyone. I really don't. I think that it's extremely important to have these skills, but I also understand that especially when you're online, and especially because like there's a certain like expectation to perform because you're in public, and like you have a reputation and blah blah blah. Well, you're the only one in control of your reputation. And if people criticize you, you can listen to that criticism, and then you can decide whether or not you actually care about it. Because sometimes it's
It is
really
not
not
like-
worth it. Sometimes it is not worth it to care about it, like, at all.
And sometimes, like, people, like, for example, you know who I was even like a couple months to a year ago. If I had been like, if I had had an opinion countered of mine, I would go, well, and then I would have got defensive instead of seeing the point. And for you, you're sometimes like everybody does it because we want to defend points that are important to us, but everyone needs to develop a skill that is, in my opinion, not seen very much often anymore and not
Yeah.
cultivated enough nearly as much anymore, which is
Oh, for
to
sure.
be malleable, to accept new information, and especially with people online personalities,
Uh-huh.
when they are challenged on fair ground and they have something that's bad pointed out about them, they often don't go, huh, maybe you're right. They often go, well, that's bullshit, and here's why, because you and you and you and you and this and this and this. And they
Yeah.
do it so often that it's like normalized, and it's
Oh, for sure.
it's like it's narcissistic behavior because it it treats your viewers watching you, it makes it it infers that you believe that they believe that you have nothing wrong with you and that you're an impermeable, like that you are an unchanging mythic figure.
Which I
And a
am.
lot of people, oh yes, yes you are, but like you still change. Like when you're confronted with information that changes your viewpoint on something, you don't just like dig a hole and bury your head into it, even though sometimes everybody does because we
Yeah.
want to do that because we want to remain ignorant or whatever. We want to keep our viewpoints because that makes us like who we are at the core. It's an important skill to have disagreements and incorporate things from people that you might not like or takes you might not like to strengthen your overall view of
Mhm.
like your perception of reality and your perception of things that you care about,
Oh,
because
yeah. Especially because, like, here's my thing, right? I know that I do not carry a lot of, like, popular opinions. I think the only quote-unquote popular opinion I have is that She-Hulk was bad. that's, that's, like, one of the only popular opinions that I have. She-Hulk was bad. Which no one fucking argues me on. Like, I've had one person that told me, like, well, it wasn't that bad, and I just kind of looked at that message that he sent me, and I was like, is it really worth it to fight about whether or not She-Hulk is bad? I'm gonna let
opinion
it
invalid,
go.
don't even engage. Don't even engage.
No,
Not even.
he is honestly like a pretty chill dude. He's someone that can genuinely take enjoyment in most of the things that he watches and sees, and I think that's great for him. I wish I could do the same. Unfortunately, when I watch things and I notice things that I don't like, and especially inconsistencies or certain things that are just absolutely asinine, oh my god, my brain latches onto it and it will not let it go. It is absolutely horrid. I hate it.
Well, things need to make sense to you, and that's one of the things I actually you don't like it about yourself, but I like it about you is because, especially as like people who like to write and like want to write things in a way that they can be understood, things need to make sense. And like it's okay to like something that doesn't make sense and just be like, oh, I just like it. And I admire the kind of people, like that kind of person that you just mentioned, that just will see the good in everything, but you, I mean, you gotta, if you see the good in everything, you gotta see the bad in some things as well. You gotta be willing to acknowledge it.
I don't know, he acknowledges it. He just is easier to. He's easier to please, I suppose you could say. And I understand that that kind of goes both ways. Like, if he is able to see the good in everything but can acknowledge the bad, then I should be able to see the things that I don't like and acknowledge the good. And I do my best to where I can. However, I'm not going to lie to myself or lie to anyone else. If I don't like something, I don't like something. It's extremely simple. And I'm not going to try to find things that I like in it, because ultimately, like, it doesn't make sense to. Like, for example, like I said about Loki as a show, I think the costuming, at least on the comic-based Lokis, are really awesome. I think it's nice to have all those little references, and it's really cool. But that's not something I had to look for. That was something that I just genuinely like and appreciate, because it's actively calling back to a legacy that, like, not, and I'm not talking about Loki, I'm talking about, like, Marvel Comics as a whole. It is calling back to those comics, and it is actively, like, a kind of reminder of part of what Stan Lee helped to create.
Yeah,
May he rest
the
in
glory
peace.
of the past, the glory
Yeah.
of the past, like the glorious things that were groundbreaking
Mhm.
and that everybody loved because they were creative and new and their
Mhm.
own thing. It kind of a detour, but I hate to see people calling Stan Lee a racist and saying like things like he was a traditionalist or this and that, because the truth is he, if someone has personal like qualms about something, like that can be wrong or right, but if that same person is the creator of the X-Men, something that helped black superheroes like be become accepted in a time where realistically, if you sat in a boardroom of comic book writers and said we want a black superhero, you would get Black Lightning or like something that was stereotypical and played up, and it was like faked. It was like faked, like we're with you, buddy, like this insulting shit. And like to say that he, it's a double-edged sword, because the man is a man. He has his personal feelings about everything, and some of those deserve to be private. But when he makes something like the X-Men that affects so many people of color and people
Mhm.
like people of different sexual orientations, because like a lot of his characters were just LGBT
Mhm.
before it was before it was a pandering thing, before it was done because it was his creative integrity to do it and his
Yeah.
creative choice to do it.
Oh yeah, for
It was
sure.
done.
And that's kind of
It
what I
was
was
done
getting
as
at
like,
earlier, is the fact is, like, looking at how much it cost to make She-Hulk, and like not necessarily the cost, but like the budget that they were given for She-Hulk. Again, $225 million, and it comes back to the whole thing of, it's not even about originality at this point. It's the amount of care and dedication and such that goes into these projects. One of the reasons why, bringing it back to my Marvel Rivals, one of the reasons why I do love Marvel Rivals is because you can tell that the devs do care. They absolutely do care about the game and how it's developed. And yeah, even if it's because it makes them money, that doesn't mean they're wrong. Like, you can dislike why they might care about the game, and if it's for money, then it's for money, but like, you can't deny that they're doing a good job of trying to get people to give them their money. And that's just,
morally morally making a product better for the express purpose of getting someone's money out of them is more morally upright than saying you're going to make a good game and then dropping a piece of shit and then running off with your cash grab and saying, I don't give a shit about it. Like, I
yeah,
would argue that that's morally better to like say,
oh,
yeah,
for
we're doing
sure.
this for the money,
But
but we
like,
care.
but that's just it. They're doing it for the money, and they might care because of the money, but but damn, do they do their job well for that money? And that's just it. I complain about the game because I do think that there are fixes and changes that can be made. But I want to make this clear. I don't think that the developers don't care about us. I think that it is an issue within the fan base and how they view things. And I feel like because the game is new, it doesn't have time to really breathe. It doesn't have time to get better because it's constantly trying to pander to so many different things. And it's not necessarily pandering, but they're trying to do their best. And that's like one of the
There's so many
weirdest
people that
that's one of the weirdest like credits that I can give to a big company because I am very, again, very, very critical of the things that I enjoy. I don't think Marvel Rivals is the best thing in the world, but I love the game. I love the game for my own like reasons, both personal and because I see how much potential it has, and I do have fun with it sometimes. So it is a little weird. It is weird, and it is confusing almost. But I know that it's worth it. When you love something and you care about something, it is worth it to have those emotional reactions because ultimately that's all you have to ask yourself. Is it worth it? Is it actually worth it? And to me, it is.
we've
That
got the core tenant. One of Riv's core tenants is something worth it,
yeah, that's true.
and that's a very important question everyone should ask themselves about anything they get involved with in life. Is it worth it to care? Is it worth it to be invested? When is it
Because sometimes
worth
it's
it to be
not.
invested, and when is it not worth it? And being able to have the discernment and the
Oh, for sure.
wisdom to know the difference and know when something is going from being not worth it to being worth it, and from being worth it to being not worth it.
But that being said, this stream is coming to a close. So I would like to thank all of you who are here, who tuned in, who listened and stayed. I am sorry that like after like an hour and a half, we went on an hour and a half long discussion, but I I enjoyed it. I think that it was very useful.
It bodes well, yeah.
To my older supporters, the people who have been here for a while, if you're tuning in, I'm gonna make a channel post about this as well. I do 100% intend to go back to making music. It is very slow because I am doing everything myself now, and I'm trying not to rely on commissioning or buying instrumentals. I know I could, but ultimately that means that I am relying on someone else's schedule, and ultimately I'm probably the only one that can make exactly what I want, like the way that I want it done. That is not anyone's fault, and that's not a criticism of anyone's abilities. I just know that I'm very particular. So while I'm learning how to do that, it is going to take time, but I am working on it. I will be coming back with music. I will be continuously streaming. That's part of why my streams are so short, but they're frequent, is because outside of stream, I work on my music production and a lot of like other background things that I'm trying to do at the moment. So keep yourselves engaged if you would like for any of that. This is he's been on I think a stream or two before. This is Sky, also like known as Rocket.
Hello.
He is my moderator. He's been a great help to me. I personally would like to include him in more of my content, especially discussion content like this, because it is very engaging and interesting, at least to me. So that's where we stand. Thank you for tuning in. I know I have a few minutes left, but I'm going to end the stream like a few minutes early. And I will see you guys tomorrow, potentially with more Marvel Rivals. I haven't decided.